What up, everybody? This is your boy Dedrian from House of Wrestling, and this is my review for the October 8th premium live event, WWE Extreme Rules. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification so that way you are notified when the House of Wrestling drops its latest content. Also, follow me, Dedrian180, on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Extreme Rules. We finally found out who the White Rabbit was, and lo and behold, it was none other than the man who has the whole world in his hands. The Eater of the Worlds, Bray Wyatt. Yes, Bray Wyatt has returned to the WWE. You could say, arguably, most of the interest for this Extreme Rules pay-per-view was, okay, what is who is the White Rabbit? What is it going to accompany? And all that. Most of the matches, not to downplay the matches or anything like that, but you kind of, maybe for a few, but most of them, you kind of knew who was going to win. Like, you can anticipate who was going to win. The Bayley-Bianca match, you didn't know, okay, Bianca could come out, but you know what? It does seem like Bayley might be the new champ. So there was a back and forth with that match, but for the most part, everything was the White Rabbit. The marketing, the QR codes, the subtle hints, the links that showed you the Piglet and Samson and just all this wild stuff. And I gotta say, I enjoyed this whole QR code stuff. It was fun. It was literally an online scavenger hunt, and that was fun. That was so much fun, and kudos to Triple H and all the guys on the creative team that was a part of that, and kudos to Bray Wyatt for putting this thing together, because it was so fun, so intriguing, and you had so many people on Twitter and social media, hey, this is what this means, and this is what this means, and they were just breaking down everything, and it was crazy because most of the stuff that was broken down from this QR code and the links and what was revealed there, it went into so much depth, but at the same time, it didn't stray away from the main focus of who the White Rabbit was, which was Bray Wyatt. And let me tell you, the way he came out, and I'm going to start off with that, and then I'll go into the results, but the way he came out, so it was pretty much after the main event, which was Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle. So Daniel Cormier, oh man, I have a difficult time saying his name. Daniel Cormier, there you go. He's holding Riddle's hand, and they're in the back, and then the lights go black. And of course, everyone has their cell phone, so you see the lights and everything. And what's cool about that is that I actually got to see Bray Wyatt's entrance twice, which was so cool. Seeing it live is so damn fun. And he, so you see all that. You're getting images of the code, and then you see, the piglet, the buzzard, the rabbit, the witch. Then there's a head on the announce table. Then you see the Fiend. But before that, the crowd is singing. He's got the whole world in his hands. And you actually hear someone singing it. He has the whole world. It was very eerie and creepy. But okay, we kind of that's his catchphrase. That's we know who it is. Come on, let's see it. Let's see it. Then they go to a video package of the Firefly Funhouse with cobwebs, and there's this door. It opens. Then you see this lantern, and he did have this mask that I remember. I think he posted on his Twitter or something like that, kind of like an image of it like that. So he had this mask on, comes out, takes the mask off, and it's huge. He came out to a huge reaction. And one of the things that I liked about this entrance was he didn't interfere in any matches. It was after all the matches were done, and then he came out. And one of the main reasons why I like that is because it projects so much curiosity. okay, he didn't interfere, so like, who is he gonna feud with? When is he gonna show up? Where is this gonna go? How is this gonna play out? If he interfered in the match, it's like, okay, that's gonna be his first feud. Like, you don't know who his first feud is. You don't know who he's gonna go after. You don't know what he's gonna say, where he's gonna go, if there's more people involved or anything like that. So it just like, if you could take Mystique and put it on steroids, that's what they did tonight at Extreme Rules with the Bray Wyatt return, because there's so much mystique, intrigue, curiosity, interest. Um, Bray Wyatt, before he was, I don't know why they released him. Like, Bray Wyatt is one of the most polarizing characters on WWE TV because he's so unique and mysterious and enigmatic, and um, he has that very I don't want to say macabre or anything, but just like borderline gothic, um, Hills has eyes type vibe. Those type of movies, like almost like Friday the 13th. If you almost like Jason from Friday the 13th Part 2, where he's this mysterious hunting thing, like you just like, oh man. So it's good to see him back, man. That was a great return. It was unique and different. Um, just so much things that you don't know where it's gonna go, but it's gonna go somewhere. And this is so cool for WWE. It's a shot in the arm for both their programming on Raw and SmackDown, because you don't know, again, you don't know what brand he's going on. Who is he? A lot like that all that just makes it so fun, and so much like, man, like you now you had like, man, let me see what's on Raw if he's gonna show up. Let me see if he's on SmackDown. So you're the anticipation and the interest to watch WWE Raw and to watch WWE SmackDown has now heightened because of his return, and that's a good thing. If they're putting on a good product, and the product has been watchable as compared to what it was in the beginning of the year, that forces other promotions to step up their game. And hey, if the crowds react to this, like, not so much a reactionary, oh my god, we got to react, or like, no, okay, we got to step up what we have that's going on here, good here, we got to step it up. And man, this was fun. And Bray Wyatt's one of my favorite characters, as you can see. I have his action figure right here. But man, this was fun. This was really good. It felt like I was watching the reveal of a music artist at an award show, returning for so long, and that artist returns, and you just hear the ovation and everything. Like, it was so cool. It was so good to see the lights and everything. Oh man, this was so good, so good. And the good thing about it, and this is, I think, looking back on it, it's refreshing, especially for just pro wrestling in general, because let's face it, in the last week, we've had some just crazy, just negative stories in pro wrestling. And, to have the week end like this with, man, Bray Wyatt's return to WWE, that whole creative, and it's good to end on a positive note with this, and I'm looking forward to it. What's going to happen on Monday and on SmackDown. Is he going to show up on both or one of the other? I don't care. As long as I see Bray Wyatt, and I know it's not going to be much because, of course, the way he's presented his character early on, more than likely it's probably going to be that way now. Less is more. I do anticipate, with the way he's had these several incarnation of his characters, I wouldn't be surprised if they use him the way Vince McMahon used Mick Foley in the summer of '97, where he presented the three faces of Foley, where we kind of get the three faces of Wyatt, where it's a little, with Foley, it was just more like, oh, I'm crazy, I have multiple personalities. With Bray, it might be even deeper and beyond whatever that was in '97. Like, Bray Wyatt might be doing something that's even at a higher level and something that's like, ooh, this is like really cerebral, and we could be seeing something very, very good and unique. Um, as far as his own spin on it, that would be cool. But I don't know. We just gotta watch and see, which is so cool, man. But man, I love his return. This is so much fun, man. To see the crowd reaction and them singing along with the song and the cell phones and the lights, and when each reveal happened with each character from the Firefly Funhouse, the crowd just erupted. A large crowd reaction. So fun, man. This is gonna be fun. Um, Now getting to the rest of the card, and I know that's gonna be crazy, but other than outside of the Bray Wyatt reveal, like a lot of these matches were really solid. Some of these matches had a little bit, how do I say? It's like, man, it's weird. Like most of the matches, like the ending part, were like really good, but like a lot of the stuff that happened early on, like kind of like didn't need. It was like kind of excessive, but for the most part, it really got to the point, and these were some really solid matches. So it's good to see this because now WWE has a very big return with some solid matches that were just watchable. It's like, all right, and that's the key, watchable. WWE's main thing right now is to have everything that they produce watchable. That's it. Where it's, oh man, WWE's on. Okay, let me watch it. That's the key, and that's the name of the game with a lot of entertainment entities and streaming services. That's what they want you to do. They want you to have watchable programming. That's all it is. So let me go through the results. In the opening match, you had the Brawling Brutes defeat Imperium in a Donnybrook match. You had Ronda Rousey defeat Liv Morgan to become the new SmackDown Women's Champion in an Extreme Rules match. You had Karrion Kross defeat Drew McIntyre in a strap match. You had Bianca Belair defeat Bayley in a ladder match. You had Finn Balor defeat Edge in an I Quit match. And you had Matt Riddle defeat Seth Rollins in the Fight Pit match. So that was the results for WWE Extreme Rules. But man, this pay-per-view was, man, ironically, if you look at it, this was probably one of the, man, I wouldn't say it was better than SummerSlam. Man, actually, I would say this was probably the best pay-per-view that Triple H has done since he's taken over creative. Like, this was one of his best pay-per-views since he's taken over, and I'm actually looking forward to Survivor Series with War Games. That's going to be fun, man. That is going to be a very fun match to watch. But man, this was a solid card and everything, man. The Donnybrook match, I mean, few things that I took away from the match that stood out to me in this match was Sheamus with the 14 forearm strikes to Gunther. When Sheamus did the Razor's Edge on the announce table, he had Gunther in the Razor's Edge. That was impressive. These guys, man, the Brawling Brutes and Imperium have had some solid matches for a month. Like, they've had some solid matches, and what's good about it is it's so physical and just competitive that it's so watchable and believable. And shout out to Gunther, Sheamus, Ridge Holland, Butch / Pete Dunne, Giovanni Vinci, and Ludwig Kaiser. Like, those guys are doing some really good stuff on SmackDown, and I believe, I gotta check my notes, but I do believe that they've like been in the main event or like the match before the main event for the past month or so, or month and a half. Like, they've been in a feature spots and everything, and man, This match was no exception. This was a nice match to start off the pay-per-view because these guys can just beat the hell out of each other. And the Donnybrook rules fit these guys. Like, just let them beat the hell out of each other. Don't have it tag here. Rules, like, just let it, whoever pins each other pins, and like that. And that was a very good move to start off the match. Then we get a video package of Bianca Belair. Then we had a backstage segment with The Miz. And this, like, this is probably one of the things of the pay-per-view that, like, looking back on it, like, they really didn't need. You know, maybe it was just time filler, but, like, the culmination of the backstage segment with Miz and the Philadelphia Flyers mascot with, it ended up being Dexter Lumis putting the Miz in a sleeper hold and the Philadelphia Flyers mascot beating up Miz and walking away. Like, that was the culmination of it. So it's like, all right, it was entertaining when Dexter Lumis beat him up, but, like, you didn't need, like, 2-3 segments before that. Like, was it 2 or 3 segments? Let's see. You had 1, 2. No, I stand corrected. It was 2 segments before the Dexter Lumis choked him out. So it was like, you really didn't need those other 2 segments. But, I mean, the reveal with Dexter Lumis is funny because the crowd reacted like, oh, yeah, he's going to beat him up. But I think a lot of people are waiting for where this is going to go with Dexter Lumis and The Miz. There's been a bunch of theories as far as, oh, it's going to lead to the reunion of The Way and all that. The way it looks now, I don't think it's going to end that way, but it could end that way. So then we get the Ronda Rousey, Liv Morgan match. Man, these ladies, shout out to Ronda Rousey, Liv Morgan, and also shout out to Bianca Belair and Bayley. Man, these women, man, the stuff that they put themselves through physically, man, shout out to them. And they put on a show. Like, these women put on a show, and shout out to Liv Morgan. This match, man, this was a very physical match. One aspect I did like about this match was when Michael Cole and Corey Graves, they really pivoted perfectly into, like, mishaps where there was a spot where Liv Morgan had the steel chairs in between the second and top rope, and the chair didn't stand and it fell. And like, oh, well, she wanted to do that move, but, you know, like, it was perfect, man. But, man, they used a fire extinguisher, baseball bats, the table. Ronda used her black belt to whip Liv as she tied her against the ring post. You know, the Ronda Rousey having the rear naked chokehold on Liv Morgan over the top rope. Like, that was crazy. The Liv Morgan doing the Swanton splash on Ronda Rousey while she was on top of a table. That was crazy. The Ronda Rousey kicking out of that and then turned into like it was an armbar submission that she turned into a rear naked chokehold, which turned into like an armbar, and the shot of like Liz Morgan just smiling, and she didn't give up. She just passed out, and Ronda Rousey won that match that way. That was pretty cool. And of course, now that adds to the story of Liv Morgan didn't quit. She passed out, similar to like the Bret Hart Stone Cold WrestleMania match where Stone Cold just passed out. He didn't quit. So there's more to that story that we know they're gonna tell with that. But that was a good match, man. That was a really good match. Shout out to Liv Morgan. She has just grown before our eyes in the last year. She's grown into a competitor where you have to take her serious. Like, granted, some people may say that she comes across very hokey, and other than that, me personally, she doesn't. Now she comes more serious, and I would say her trajectory as a wrestler and how she's grown in the last year is similar to the growth that Trish Stratus did back in 20 years ago, where she came in as a manager. And granted, Liv Morgan didn't come in as a manager, but as you saw Trish Stratus get in the ring, and it just, you saw the evolution of how she just became one of the greatest women wrestlers of all time. And uh, it's gonna be fun to see where Liv Morgan is a year from now, because man, she's doing some really good stuff. Then we get the Drew McIntyre Karrion Kross match. I mean, this match was expected. Two big guys whipping each other with strap match. It was no DQ, so you had the pin or submission. They gave a shout out to Rock in a Triple H strap match, Sting and Vader strap match. The Future Shock DDT, that was crazy. But I mean, the big spot of this match was Scarlett interfering when Drew McIntyre was going to do the Claymore kick, and she, like, they spin it, like he turns her around or she turns him around, and she sprays him with pepper spray, and then Karrion Kross hits him with the cross hammer and he pins him, and that's the end of the match. So we know that's going to lead to more between those guys. That was really a weird way to conclude with like pepper spray, and I don't know, it's just really weird how it concluded with that spot. Like that was the spot that they chose to conclude the match with. Nothing, a revert, like just something else. Like that was what it came to. Not saying it was bad, it was just really weird and unique, like interesting that they would choose that route. But obviously we're going to get more from Karrion Kross and Drew McIntyre probably one more month, and then or maybe, now thinking about it, since we're in October, November, December, and then things will start, new feuds will probably start beginning for Royal Rumble, which love the Royal Rumble. Then of course we get another Miz and the Flyers mascot, which basically led to him telling them off. Then we get the Bayley Bianca match. Bayley Bianca Belair. Every match she's in, she displays her strength in different ways that leaves you cheering for her more in a match. And she showed it today, man. There were so many spots, but these are the ones that stood out to me. And this was more Bayley. She did a sunset flip driver on Bianca, that resulted in Bianca hitting the ladder, which was like, damn, that was pretty cool. And it was so quick. Boom. I was like, ooh, man, it was so good. Of course, there was the Let's Go Bayley, Let's Go Bianca match, and that's you're gonna get that with the WWE and their women's division. Like, you're gonna get Bianca cheered, you're gonna get Bayley cheered. Like, those women are gonna get cheered, and they're gonna get probably louder cheers than some of the men, which is rightfully so. They put on great matches. Then you had when the match really picked up was when Damage Control, or actually, let me go back a little bit. When Bayley did a flying elbow drop on Bianca, who was laying on a ladder, which was propped up on the steel stairs onto the barricade, and like Bayley, like that was a crazy spot. It looked like Bayley like messed up her arm, because it was like she barely got it. It was like pop. It was like, ooh, I hope she didn't hurt her elbow. And that's something that most wrestling fans, including myself, are like concerned about. No matter what promotion, it's like, look, we've been through a lot of injuries with these wrestlers from every promotion. Please do not injure yourself anymore. Like, we want to see you guys wrestle. That was cool. Then the match picked up when Damage Control interfered. Bianca, at one point, she did a double KOD on Io Sky and Dakota Kai. She picked both women up and did a KOD, which was impressive. Then there was a spot where both women were on top of the ladder, and Bayley knocked her off. She came back, whipped her with her braid. And then another, probably the spot of the outside of the double KOD, was the KOD that Bianca did on Bayley while Bayley was holding a ladder. And it just, the fluidity and execution of pulling that off, perfect, man. And that allowed Bianca to go up to the top and get the title, so she's still the WWE Raw Women's Champion. That was a solid match, man. A solid match. And kudos to Bayley. You can tell that she's starting to get her rhythm back. And it's fun because she's a very good wrestler. Very good wrestler. Very entertaining, especially heel Bayley. Like, she is so fun. And she's starting to get in. Man, it's so cool to see. Then we get Finn Balor and Edge in an I Quit match. Man, this match, it had so many twists and turns and boom, 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 boom. Like, a lot of the twists and turns, like, there's a few, like, it's hard to say because the way it happened, like, the way it ended, like, okay, like, you could see that happening. But the way they got there were certain things that they could have, like, left out. I got to go back and see which ones it was, but you could tell, like, man, okay, why are they, like, okay, it's like they're repeating. Like, it was just really back and forth. And maybe, now looking back on it, maybe the beginning part of the match, some stuff could have been left out, because basically the match picked up when Damian Priest interfered. Then Dominic came out and Edge speared, he threw them outside and Balor was on the apron, and Edge speared Balor on top of Dominic and Damian Priest. So after that, you had Edge. He was on the corner, and Rhea Ripley handcuffed him to the top rope, and she dangled the key and everything, and that allowed all the Judgment Day just to beat him up. Then Rey Mysterio came out to save Edge. He started beating up everybody. Then Dominic just laid out Rey and then threw him into the barricade. Then you had Beth Phoenix come out to even odds, and she just started cleaning house. And then you had this face-off between Beth and Rhea Ripley, which, now looking at it, are we going to get a Survivor Series match, or are we going to get a Royal Rumble match, or are we going to get a WrestleMania match? So are we going to get a WrestleMania match? Now I think about it, we might get a WrestleMania match between Edge and Beth Phoenix versus Dominic and Rhea Ripley. There you go. We could get that. And we could get Balor and AJ Styles at WrestleMania. Something to think about. Could happen. So yeah, you had that face off. Then Beth Phoenix, she speared Rhea Ripley. Then later on, you had face off with Dominic and Edge. He just kicked Dominic in the nuts and shoved him on the ground. You had, while that happened, "Who's your daddy?" chants. Then you had Edge spear Balor 5 times. So see what I'm saying? Like, Edge, early on, he speared Balor outside the ring. Then you had he speared him like 5 times. Then Edge tells Beth to get the steel chair. He starts beating up Balor. Then Rhea Ripley comes out of nowhere, hits Beth with the brass knuckles. Then that allowed Balor to get on the top rope, and they had Edge, Dominic, and Damian Priest had Edge stretched out for Balor to do the coup de grace at least 2 times. Then Edge grabs the mic, and they're holding Edge. He's like, "No, hell no, go to hell, I'm not quitting." And then as he's doing that, Rhea Ripley gets 2 chairs. He puts Beth Phoenix's head under one, and they're threatening. It was like, "You better say it, you better say it." He's like, "I quit." And then Ripley laughs, and then she hits Beth Phoenix with a concerto, and then that's how that whole match ended and everything. So yeah, few things they could have left out. One of the spots where Edge speared Balor, like, they could have left out the earlier one where he speared him through the apron. Like, it was really it just felt like there was a lot of stuff happening to get to the end of Edge and Beth Phoenix, being attacked by Judgment Day and that whole thing. Like, it was just a lot of stuff going on to get to there. And then there was a lot of stuff before Damian Priest and those guys interfered. So it was just a lot of stuff to get there. And it was, I don't know, just really, it was like, oh wow, this is all right. Like that's, I'm not saying it's bad. It was just a lot of stuff to get to that ending. Um, but like I said, we could get Edge and Beth Phoenix versus Dominic and Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. Just saying. Then the main event, or then we had the backstage segment with Dexter, putting Miz to sleep. Which, where is this going with Dexter Lumis and the Miz? Like, where is this really going, and when is it going to end, and when is Dexter Lumis going to go on to something else? But then we get Matt Riddle and Seth in the fight pit. This was a solid match. There was no ropes or anything, like no turnbuckles or anything, but you can tell the way the crowd was. Like, there was this sense of, okay, is is the White Rabbit coming out? So it's like you had that anticipation, it's going to come out, and then of course it's like, oh crap, Bray Wyatt's going to come out during a Seth Rollins match in the cage. It's like, oh my god, that's bringing back 2019 Hell in a Cell. Like, no. But man, this was a solid match. Comier, he told Seth Rollins early on, hey, don't touch me. You fight him, you're not fighting me. So that was really like, okay, he's setting the standard. That's cool. But man, there was a Seth Rollins at the buckle bomb and a pedigree on the, they call it the top of the fight pit. Then you had Seth Riddle do an RKO on the top of the top pit or fight pit. Then Riddle, man, this was a crazy spot where Riddle did a back splash on Seth from the top of the fight pit onto him, and like the way he landed and the way they got the camera go, like WWE does a very good job of getting the camera angles where it exaggerates the impact of the move, where it makes it look like it was more impactful than what it was. Very good camera work. And then it was weird because there was a triangle chokehold that Riddle had Seth Rollins in, and like the way it ended was like, all right, that was it. And then of course after that you had Bray Wyatt's reveal. Side note, you did have Braun Breaker, the NXT champion, and Nikita Lyons at ringside. So we could say those are the two names that we're probably going to see promoted next when they do their next call-up for NXT call-up. So we'll see what happens with that. But like I said, man, this was a fun show on a Saturday night in the fall. Bray Wyatt, man, this is going to be fun to see where he goes. And, are we going to get the three faces of Wyatt? And is it going to be even more cerebral than what Mick Foley did in 97? Or is it just going to be something different? But man, it's so good to see Bray Wyatt back in the WWE, and just watching his promos and just the presentation of Bray Wyatt. It's so entertaining. It's different. It's unique. And, man, now this just adds to WWE programming being more watchable since Triple H has taken over. So kudos to everybody in the WWE and what they've done since Triple H has taken over. And like many people, I'm excited and just, anticipating, a product to just be like, okay, this is interesting. All right. I like this. So we'll see what happens. But this is my review for the October 8th Premium Live event, WWE Extreme Rules. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notifications so that way you're notified when the House of Wrestling drops its latest content. Follow me, Dedrian180, on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. And with that, thank you to all the new subscribers that have subscribed to the House of Wrestling. Thank you so much. I'm going to try to put out more content and more original content and all that, but thank you so much. And with that,